to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one!
Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor.
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three and
He hit it.
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. Indiana Sports Beat is back up and running on a Monday to get you going for the week ahead. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you got out, had fun. It was enjoyable. Dustin Schutte's with me, is here. Hope you just enjoyed the nice weather. It's just been incredible. This has been possibly the most incredible August I can ever recall in my lifetime, Dustin. From a weather standpoint, August is nothing but heat and humidity. That's what I grew up on, man. That's what I was fed. That's what when I was growing up all through school. 2 a days where it was 1,000 degrees, and I'm like, this has just been so effing nice. It's the humidity has not been around. The heat has not been the 90-degree days. That's all I remember, or 90-degree days. But it's been great. Don't forget, of course, we're brought to you by our great friends at Andy Moore Honda, #1 Honda dealer of Bloomington, and Endeavor Hospitality, part of the WOW Club, which includes great places like Southern Stone Restaurant, Feast Market and Cellar, Cabello, the Courtroom, BB's Market, former Wagon Wheel there, many others. You got Metalworks Brewing, all kinds of Garnish Catering. Just so many. And look forward to, don't forget about BB's, of course. Your market, they're your marketplace, your local meat shop, steakhouse, and caterer, no matter where you live, with some of the best custom meats around. BB's Market has the largest variety of in-house made products you'll find around as well. You can visit bbsmarket.com for online ordering. That's all you got to do. And we'd appreciate that when you join the WOW Club. NASCAR action yesterday. Tebow's on it. His racer won the regular season championship, but not the race. Who did win that race?
Kyle Larson.
I watched it and forgot. It was fun. That was fun watching that road course race. I enjoyed that. There was some passing in that race, man. And getting at it, I liked it.
Yeah, Watkins Glen, we've disagreed on and talked with people on this show about whether Indianapolis should keep it at the oval or if it should be a road course. But Watkins Glen is a designed road course. It's always been that way. Even, going back when I was a little kid, that was one of my favorite road course races to watch because it's designed for your enjoyment. It's designed for passing. It's designed for – that's how it's set up. Indianapolis, I don't think, is designed for that. We talked about what – is it turn 2, turn 3, whatever turn it is?
Turn 1.
Turn 1.
You talk about where they all just roar down and they have the entire length of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway front stretch. Going backwards, but they have that entire run, and then you crowd in there. But the difference is their car bodies were always metal. Well, now they're carbon fiber and they're not bending. They could never do what they did at Indianapolis on previous. But I think a lot of guys, they want to go back to the oval at Indianapolis.
Yes,
they want it. They're like, hey, we're at Indy, damn it. We want to race Indy. We don't want to race the Indy road course, which is cool and all, but if you're going to be in Indy, it's no longer a crown jewel.
Right.
If it's not the Brickyard 400.
Well, I was going to say, I think a lot of it stems from the fact that a lot of these guys aren't going to ever be in an Indy car, but they still kind of want that experience of crossing the bricks and getting that sort of history. And it's not the same. It'll never be the same as the Indy 500. I've been to both. They both draw a pretty big crowd. But I think that's probably a big reason why. Plus, again, I just don't think it's set up. Like, I don't think Indianapolis and think road course. I like the NASCAR slate when there was only 2 or 3 road courses, and Watkins Glen has always been one of them. And I can't remember. I don't know why I'm losing the name of the other original road course, but for whatever reason, those two, like, you're not going to be able to pass on every single turn. There's obviously some narrow parts to those tracks, but there are spots where if you pick the right spot, you're going to be able to make some moves. And I don't get that with some of the other places they've tried to implement these road courses. Like the next 2 years or something, next year, they're going to go to Chicago and do a road course race. Can't wait to see how that turns out.
Yep. Looking forward to college football. We're getting closer, baby.
Yeah,
When's
baby. 1 week.
1 week to week 0.
Saturday.
This Saturday is week 0?
This Saturday is week 0, baby.
Holy smokes.
Nebraska, Northwestern, Illinois, Wyoming.
Yep. The preseason is underway.
Vanderbilt,
Big Ten.
Hawaii.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait.
I knew you'd be fired up for that one.
Yeah, let's see. Which team starts out 7-1 or 8-0 and still be written? I'm looking at the Athletic. Let's see. Fraud Watch. This is which teams who might be on Fraud Watch.
All right.
At the top, Ole Miss, SEC. They play Kentucky in the opener. Wow, that's whew. You talk about a big game.
Yeah,
that's
it is
a big game for Ole Miss to start the season, just like Indiana, Illinois. Let's see. Tennessee's listed next.
Let me tell you something.
Purdue. Go ahead.
Before you jump in with that, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I'd want to be Ole Miss, considering the kind of I don't want to call it controversy, but the spat back and forth between Mark Stoops and John Calipari. Mark Stoops is going to be out to prove something in that game.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't want to be Ole Miss. They're going to be fired up for that one.
Well, it's a big game. They've got Tennessee on there. Purdue. This is Purdue. If it can find a way to pull off the upset of Penn State at home in its season opener, a 7-0 or 6-1 start seems possible before it's time to play Wisconsin and Iowa. So look, Purdue they open up with Penn State. So Indiana's not the only team that's getting this. So don't think that that's the case. It's not. And I'm not going to lie. I like it in a way, but I would like it a lot better if Illinois wasn't playing anyone.
Yes, that's number one.
I like these schedules. I love seeing Purdue playing Penn State. All right, tough game. Hey, old days, old school.
Right.
Buckle up, buckle your chin strap. Of course, we didn't do that in high school either. I'll be honest with you.
You didn't buckle your chin strap?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I remember our first game was against a team that we were expected just to roll over. As a matter of fact, the first. I just remember our schedule. The first two games, those are expected wins. Even though the second one ended up being harder fought, but back then, at least in our mind, it was like you knew who you were supposed to beat, and which is not good. It's not a good mindset. No, not good. Because there was a team at the end of the year that we were supposed to beat, and we didn't.
But, the weird thing is that even in high school football, there's an exhibition, jamboree, scrimmage type of game. College is the only one that doesn't have it. I really do wish they would have some sort of preseason game where it could, like Purdue, Indiana State, Indiana, Ball State, or somebody along those lines. Like, I wish that they would implement that. I don't mind the games early in the season. I just want to see teams play that week 1 game before you play a conference opponent, because there's too much at stake, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll see. Lots of folks hitting up the Andy Moore Honda hotline already, getting us going on. The Truth down in Evansville says, 79 days for basketball. Yep,
He's
they're
got
on the count, man.
rolling. Yep.
Got the count going. 5 lefts is on. Tim, Michael, David G, Chris Robert, Steve, Travis. Make sure I don't miss anyone. Where's Michael? Jesse. So what? Justin, appreciate you, brother. Wyatt, he's got his Cardinals. They've won 7 in a row. Pujo slashing. He's 449. Ooh. Since the All-Star break. That's what you need. Yeah, speak a little bit of MLB. Now's the time to get hot if you're the Cardinals. I did notice that the last time I looked, they had a 3-game lead. I don't even know what it is now.
It's
standings, baby.
It's up to 5 games.
Oh, look at you.
Cruising, baby.
Stretching it out in the home stretch. Milwaukee just fading. But they've won. Yeah, the Cardinals have won 8 out of their last 10 games.
There aren't
Milwaukee
a lot of really
has lost 6 out of
Yeah.
their last 10.
They really aren't a lot of good races right now. I mean, I guess things could heat up, but
Let's see. 68.
AL Central.
You
Cleveland-
just the only races are for the wild card.
Right, true.
Although the Yankees have done everything they can to turn the biggest lead in Major League Baseball into at one point, I'm trying to remember how many game lead did they have at one point? It was big.
The one I remember seeing was 16 and a half. I don't know if they ever went over that, but it was at one point, I know it was at least 16 and a half. And they have, I mean, that's going to be interesting. They just dropped 3 out of 4 to, was it Toronto that they were playing? I can't remember now if it was Toronto or Tampa.
What's
Bay.
how many games you play? 162?
Yes.
So you've got 42 more games left.
And they got an 8-game lead. So if you can't hang on to that's a problem.
Well, and here's the funny thing is, it's not just the Tampa Bay Rays that are on their behind. It's also Toronto, who is both 65 and 55. And as a matter of fact, both of those teams would be in the wild card if it stopped today.
Even Baltimore's got a good squad. I mean,
Baltimore is only a game behind those guys.
Yeah.
2.5 games. The American League East, without question,
loaded.
The best division in baseball. The team in last place are the Red Sox. They're only 2 games under 500.
Right. And at one
That's
point,
last place.
At one point, I think every team in that division was above 500. It's not out of the question for every team in that division to finish over 500. The Red Sox have struggled. They had some real outfield issues there for a while. I don't know if they've got those corrected, but the Yankees and the Mets are going. I think that starts tonight, or is that tomorrow? Tonight or tomorrow?
Subway Series action?
Yep.
Too bad Brockway's not here.
They start tonight. He and I watched the Mets Braves the other day.
Together?
That was fun. We did. Yeah.
Together?
We met up. Yeah.
Did you sing Kumbaya and hold hands?
No, not quite.
Darn it.
I ate Nashville hot chicken though.
The Dodgers, 18-game lead. That's just gross almost.
Yeah.
An 18-game over a team that's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I think fairly comfortably too.
No, potentially. It's no, because the Braves are going to be in regardless.
The Padres have the second. They have the second. They're second in the wild card race.
Yes, behind the Braves.
Right.
But they're only like 2 games in front of the Phillies.
Well, look at Milwaukee. Milwaukee's now in the. at one point,
Milwaukee's not even going to make the second place team in the National League Central will not even make the playoffs.
They're only a game and a half out because since they expanded it to that third team.
Hey, we got to take a break. Went long. We'll talk about this stuff later. We've got Kyler coming up next. We'll get you caught up on some basketball recruiting, what's going on there. Brought to you by our good friends from BB's Market, your local meat shop, steakhouse, caterer, no matter where you live. Like I said, reach out. Visit bbsmarket.com for online ordering. Can't wait to start doing our Friday shows there. Dustin Schutte with Manal, Kyler Staley joining us from thehoosier.com right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting
Morning.
Oh,
good morning, Tyler.
Kyler, you do the show how I used to have to do the show from my car.
How long ago did you do that, Dustin?
Huh?
How long ago were you doing that? Because I don't remember that.
That was probably before your time because I lived in I don't know if Jim was doing it on, it probably wasn't Spreaker at the time, but we did a call in and we were doing those reporter roundtables, and I remember the first time I did it, my cell service kept cutting out. Like I could talk to my brother, my mom, somebody for 45 minutes, no problems. Anytime I would do a damn radio show, it would cut out after 2-3 minutes.
Wow.
So I just had to go out to my car for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's I got to sneak out. I can't really do the show in my cubicle in front of everybody. And I've also got terrible reception in there too. So
right,
that probably sounds better out here.
Yeah, it's basically a studio.
There you go.
We had somebody comment last week. I don't remember who it was or when they commented, but they were like, "Stop interviewing people in your car or in their car." I don't know what that means. I guess maybe they think you're driving.
I was actually on my way to St. Louis last week, but I was not driving.
Oh, okay.
My coworker was driving. We had a work conference to go to.
Kyler's not driving everybody.
Yeah, I do not do that.
He's being a safe citizen. I'm trying to think of who all has joined us driving their car before. I know Jim Reamer's done it.
Let me tell you,
Mitchell Page has done it before too.
You would not have enough. You'd wear out the beat button if I was driving and talking on this radio show. I can't believe football's here.
Like, I'm excited, but I'm also just I'm like, wow, this is where it becomes nonstop for the next umpteen months.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, I know you're the one who going to all the games, but at the same time, I still have
not
to be
just the
available
games.
for everything.
Oh, I know. It's hard for everybody. It's hard for everybody. Man, it sucks though. I hate it. It's just nonstop. That.
Especially that little period where there's football and basketball. Jesus.
No. And soccer.
That's true, because soccer's usually pretty good. All right,
here we go. Volleyball team now? Oh, okay.
Oh, you're fine. We have a couple seconds. What you gonna say?
Nothing. It's not important.
Okay.
Coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We'll be right. This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Monday. Jim Coyle with you as always. Dustin Schutte with me from Outsider.com, and we're joined by Kyler Staley from thehoosier.com. Make sure you go there and sign up and get all of the coverage you can stand for Indiana, recruiting, news, football, basketball, whatever, that's the place to go, thehoosier.com. For certain. Not a lot going on over the weekend, but there's always something happening, Kyler. What is the latest? I know that a lot of guys that look good to land in Indiana ended up going other places, but the main guy, Arrington Page, is one that was probably the highest priority and is still that. But yet he has a visit coming up to Miami, I believe, later this month, which to me is a little scary because now anybody that goes to Miami is a potential loss because of they are really when Mr. what's his name, John Ruiz, he's got that unlimited checkbook, man, and Arrington Page would be a perfect piece for Miami. They've already landed Nigel Pack. They have a good nucleus there, and adding an Arrington Page would be perfect for them as well. And boy, it's always a little scary when you know there's someone's going to Miami with that guy that's got that big checkbook.
Yeah, that's definitely something to monitor. That visit's later this week. I believe it starts on the 25th and runs through the 27th. NIL is something to watch out in this situation. You know, we've seen what they've done with Nigel Peck. You know, it's always going to be scary when you get a guy that goes visits Miami. But from talking to a couple of people kind of around in his circle, I don't get the feeling that NIL is going to play a top priority factor in this. Indiana still sits in a very good spot. Other schools to watch out for: Cincinnati and USC and Missouri. But you know, if they can get through, if Page can get through that Miami visit, and they don't give him like kind of what he's looking for and everything, I think Indiana sits as that top favorite to land him. But as far as, you know, the 23s, he's it right now. He's the guy that they're looking at. There could be somebody that pops up, you know, in the next few months that they could have interest in if they don't get Page. But other than Page, it's going to be probably the transfer portal that you'll see Indiana kind of be aggressive in when it comes to the 23 season.
Well, I was just
going to say, Dustin, I wonder how. I know certain probably schools are probably making it a part of the recruiting package is including, hey, here's what the NIL deal would be. I don't know that Indiana is doing that because it seems to be an after fact thing, but they're made aware of NIL is not an issue here. But I don't know how, and none of us know exactly how that works. And that's the key. Is Miami making the offer, the NIL offer in the package, and maybe Indiana is not? That's something I need to find, that I'm going to have to try to find out. Kyler?
No, yeah, I agree on that. And Dustin, I don't know, didn't want to cut you off there, what your point was going to be. So. Oh,
no, I was just going to ask when you.
But I was talking about, let's stick on what my point is, because that's huge for a Miami. If they're making that NIL a part of the package, say, hey, here's what in Indiana, and it comes later in Indiana. I don't know how that's happening. Is that potentially the case with Miami?
I mean, I think so with Miami. Obviously, you know, Mike Woodson stated before that if he's going to recruit you to come play for Indiana, not NIL, that's going to come secondary. Obviously, they're hand in hand with Hoosiers for Good right now. But, you know, Miami might have a different recruiting pitch, and I would be almost certain that NIL plays a big factor now in the recruiting. You saw what they did with Nigel Peck. That had to have been a big recruiting factor for him. And I'm sure they'll have the same kind of pitch with Page. And I don't know what their kind of front court situation is the next couple of years. That could be another thing to monitor. But I believe this is going to be the biggest competitor to Indiana. We'll just see how this Miami visit goes. I mean, if it doesn't go as well as what Page wanted, I think Indiana sits in a pretty good spot with getting him.
And Kyler, with some of these other guys, Jamie Kaiser and some of the other guys not selecting Indiana, committing to other places, I'm not going to say that Indiana wasn't all in on Arrington Page from the beginning, but does this allow them to maybe go after him a little bit harder? Because as you mentioned, now you may be looking at the transfer portal. Now maybe you're looking for kind of a diamond in the rough for that class. Do you think that they're going to continue to pitch harder, or have they already thrown everything that they're going to throw at him?
I think they've thrown a lot at him, but I also think they're going to throw up a little bit more with that. Like I mentioned it 3 times already, but yeah, the Miami visit's huge right now. It's going to, it determines on how he's going to, respond to that. And I think after the Miami visit, I think Indiana will reach out again. They'll continue to talk to him and everything. And, he's a very important piece. Indiana's going to be losing Race Thompson and Trace Jackson Davis next year. I mean, Arrington Page is the type of guy that could slide right in and play very meaningful minutes, along with Malik Renault and Jordan Geronimo. So he fits perfectly what Indiana needs. If they don't land him, Indiana's down to, Gabe Cupps and Ja'Kai Newton, who are 2 wings. They wouldn't find a forward unless they're going to look in the transfer portal, or they're going to find that diamond in the rough, like you just mentioned.
Well, if they don't get Arrington Page, I don't. There's no doubt that they have to go to the portal. I mean, this is a position they need to fill as they go forward, and they need to fill it now to have it there. I mean, you've got Malik Renault, and we don't know what Logan Duncombe is doing behind the scenes. So there's that question. And it's not that they need it for this upcoming season, but next season. And so there's nothing that says they can't continue to find that in recruiting. But like you said, the transfer portal always an option. And I'm surprised Indiana hasn't used that a little bit more. They seem really intent on recruiting guys that are going to be freshmen. Which I am surprised. Like I said, they haven't recruited that guy that to really insert to propel the program.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this year they didn't really, have to, because with Trace coming back, their scholarships are already filled up with those 4 freshmen coming in. First year, Mike Woodson hit it pretty hard, bringing in Miller Kopp, Xavier Johnson, Michael Duran, those guys. But like next year, it'll probably be where they have to. No matter, even if Page commits, they're probably going to have to find another forward. It just really depends on what Logan Duncombe's, if he's ready to play at that point or not. I mean,
and he's really not going to. That's not his position, really. I mean, he's more of Trace Jackson Davis, from what I remember of his game.
Yeah, he's definitely going to stick in the inside. He does actually have a really solid mid-range game that we've seen in high school from that, so he can stretch it to that extent. But the transfer portal is going to be big moving forward for Indiana. This year wasn't as big a need as what they needed. They got pretty much everybody back from last year, and they upgraded with 2 5-star freshmen coming in, and that really loaded freshman class. So obviously it wasn't a big thing that they needed to kind of engage with, but next year it'll be probably a very important piece for them as far as recruiting and how the 2023 season is going to play out.
Well, and with the transfer portal, the thing that's interesting to me is everybody, I don't know about everybody, but a lot of people think just go in and get a guy, just go get that experience. First of all, just because a guy scores 14 points a game at one school doesn't mean he's going to jump in and automatically add 14 points. I mean, there's a lot of different factors involved there. But the thing that's interesting to me is finding that balance. Like Indiana right now knows what it needs for 2023, 24, 24, 25, on and on and on. So they can look at those pieces and see where they need to recruit. You really don't know what you need out of the transfer portal until the end of the season, when you might have some of those surprise guys hit the portal, or maybe there's a guy that you didn't think would come onto the market who decides he's going to leave his current program. So I don't know that people are panicking per se. I don't want to put that thought out there, but at the same time, I don't think that there's, as you mentioned, Kyler, I mean, they had plenty of guys coming back that you really didn't need to jump in the transfer portal. I don't look at this quote unquote inactiveness in the transfer portal this year as a sign that Indiana's not going to do it in the future. You have to have the right guy, and if the right guy's not out there, don't risk it.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. And it's not like, there were some guys this year that they kind of looked at that were in the transfer portal. But once Trace Jackson Davis came back, those scholarships are filled up. So Once that happened, it's like, okay, we're just going to have to stick with our guys that we had last year.
So what's up next? It seems like, where we are, it's kind of done with really recruiting, but not really, because you've got visits coming up for Hoosier Hysteria, which takes place in October, which is not as far away as one would think. What are we? I saw earlier, we're like 79 days till college basketball starts. So getting guys in for Hoosier Hysteria is going to be very important. How many guys do they have lined up at the moment?
As far as I know, I think you got Harrelson and Sicily, and I think there's one other 2025 that's scheduled for Hoosier Hysteria. But I mean, as we get closer to that, they'll start racking up a lot more visits with that as well.
Yeah, that's always something fun and important, and probably getting more and more so as we get forward, because now when a guy gets here, they already know what they're going to be able to get. They know that Indiana is one of the leaders in NIL and this and that, because it doesn't really matter. We talk about NIL. I think that they know that Indiana is one of the leaders. The entire team is under the Hoosiers for Good minus one person, under the Hoosiers for Good by themselves, with multiple other things out there and available. So that is not going to be a problem for any of the players when they come here. Then when you see Hoosier Hysteria and you see the craziness that is, that's getting back to what Indiana used to offer, I think.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's always going to be a hot spot for recruiting. I remember being young and going to the Tom Crean era type of Hoosier series. There was always the younger guys. And so you'll get the 2025s. You'll probably get, I would say maybe up to 7 or 8 of those type of guys there that they have interest in, may not have offered yet, but you'll get those type of guys. Maybe some other local kids like Cannon Catchings would be a great piece for them to have there. Maybe they can get a Flory Badunga as well, which would be.
Now that's gigantic right there, because I think this guy is going to be, he's going to be a game changer in college. I really believe that. I mean, and but I think he needs to be on a good team. He's not going to carry a team because right now he reminds me of one of those kids in Little League that is just more physically mature than a lot of the other kids and kind of overpowers them now, but then they catch up to him later. Which Flory Badunga is kind of a level above everybody else in high school right now. He's kind of unstoppable when he gets the ball down low, but that'll be different when you're in college, because you got a lot of other guys that are more athletic than what you've ever seen. Not that his talent is not good, but I wonder what it will be truly. But he is someone that, yeah, I think he's going to be much coveted by everybody in the state and around.
Yeah, and like I mentioned last week, his recruitment is going to remain a mystery for the foreseeable future. There is that language barrier there, so you just got to kind of watch out for that. I mean, but this summer he really broke out. High recruiting analysts saw him this year. I mean, super efficient around the basket. I mean, I would say probably 60% of his scoring is a dunk. That's just kind of what it is. I mean, very soft touch. Just
that's exactly what I meant.
Yeah, and just incredible natural athletic ability there. So I mean, he's going to be very coveted, like you mentioned. There was that talk, where there's going to be a school that was going to be certain to get him through his connections and stuff, but I don't think that's the case anymore, especially when you had Indiana, Purdue, and Michigan now in the mix right there offering him. I think something's kind of happened there. So he's going to be, when it comes to the 2024 class, nationally, he's going to be one of the highest sought after recruits.
Yeah, without question, because he jumped up in the ratings quickly. What's new? What's going on that maybe the folks don't know about from the Hoosier.com?
So the big thing that happened this past weekend was 2024 power forward Riley Burgess was there, who's actually a teammate with Flory Badunga on the Indiana Elite 16U squad. He was there
when you say he was there, he was at Indiana.
Yes, he was on his second unofficial visit. He went on his first one back in June, where Indiana offered him. Talked to him on Friday. I mean, him and I were texting back and forth quite a bit. He said he really thinks highly of Indiana and the campus and the culture life there. He said, when it comes down to it, he thinks Indiana's going to be very high on his list of, when he can finally kind of cut those schools down the list. Purdue's offered him, Wisconsin, Iowa, Cincinnati's a big one. He's a local Cincinnati kid, so you always got to watch out for those. But another guy that's very efficient, that had a really good summer, and he's continued to improve his ability to stretch the floor. Big fan of his, and I think he could come in that 2024 class. I think he could fit right into Mike Woodson's system very easily.
And now, where is his need? Who was he going to fill? Now, Xavier Johnson would be gone in that case, but other than that, you've got CJ Gunn, you've got obviously Jalen Hood-Schifino in there, as well as Trey Galloway. So where would he fit?
So he's a power forward. So he wouldn't, in that, he wouldn't have too much to do with the backcourt and everything.
You got Tamar Bates and Jordan Geronimo, and at that time, so hopefully you've got Geronimo that is really playing well. Tamar Bates, who should be playing well at that point. And so is that someone where he can back up?
Yeah, I don't think he would, he wouldn't be the type of guy that would start right away. And then like down the road, you got Logan Duncan. It depends on, how he develops and everything. So it's a guy to watch out for, these next couple of years in that 2024 class. But I think Indiana is going to be very on top of him, at this point moving forward, considering he's already had 2 unofficial visits there.
Make sure you give Kyler Staley a follow at Kyler Staley and follow at thehoosier.com. That's where you can keep up with all of that is going on in regards to Indiana, recruiting, news, all of that and more. Kyler Staley, thank you, sir. Look forward to it again next week. Have a great week. Anything that the people need to look out for?
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of football previews coming up. And this week I am actually working on breaking down every scholarship player for this upcoming basketball season and kind of previewing them and what they bring to the table this year. So be on the lookout for that. That starts this week.
Look forward to it, brother. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, coming up next, Dustin Dopirak from the Bloomington Herald-Times. Looking forward to chatting with Dustin as we get ready for football season. We're closer and closer, man. Brought to you by our friends from Go Team. Go Team. For the go-getters like you, you're always on the go. It's hard and fresh, tasty food that's convenient to eat on the fly. Go Team Bites were created for go-getters like yourself, full of fresh, healthy ingredients, and each recipe contains high-quality protein powder. And guess what? They taste great. High-achieving people like you need a great-tasting source of energy to conquer the day. Go Team, a part of the Wow Club and Endeavor Hospitality. Back with Dustin Dopirak right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
The sun is out. Hello, Dustin. How are you?
Hello, Jim. How are you, sir?
Wonderful. Dustin Schutte, Dustin Dopirak.
Dustin Schutte.
Double dose of Dustin.
Double D.
We're in.
Double D.
We need the other Dustin on here.
Is there another one?
There's one more. Isn't there one more?
I feel like there might be.
There's only one other Dustin in the world.
We keep them in 3 different corners of the universe, so we never. We can be on podcasts together, but we can't be in the same place.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an unproven fact that they're Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Some Harry Potter stuff stops happening if we all congregate in the same place.
Exactly, it doesn't.
How are you doing, sir?
Doing good. I managed to. We got our exterminator in here and out of here in time to get on the show. So I was a little bit nervous, a little bit touch and go there. Had a couple mice show up, so that was
You know what's funny?
What's that?
I haven't seen a mouse in any place I've lived in since like 2000 and.
So it's been
five
ago.
or 6, and I never saw, and I never saw it. My ex-girlfriend did. She named it.
Can we share the name?
I'm trying to remember. It was she was so frightened, but it was funny. She gave it a cute little name.
Yeah,
Mr. Jingles.
No, like
Jingles.
That's
oh
from,
man,
that's from The Green Mile.
Stuart Little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mr.
good point.
His name was Mr. Jingles.
It was
Wasn't
Mr.
it?
Jingles. Yeah, you're right. That was the Moss and Green Mile. That movie was intense. Yeah,
That was
That was
good
a great movie.
good stuff. It was good
terrific.
stuff. Good stuff.
No. So my wife named we had a spider that she named. She named it Eastside Eddie because we live in an area that's really good at refurbishing houses. And this thing, like, I mean, he like just complex web design. He comes in, shows up, puts together, we tear it down. In a day, it's right back up. It's like, you can't mess with me. So she called him Eastside Eddie. And I had a hard time. Like I couldn't kill him after that. I had to, he was named, had a personality.
10 seconds.
So I had to get him out.
Should have called me in. No problems with me killing spiders.
Here we go.
Andy Mohana, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you on this Monday, brought to you by our good friends from Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the reason you get the home you want or not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Had a great time playing in the MyBOR, the Morgan County, Indianapolis Board of Realtors golf outing last Friday with Colin Hartman and Tyler Harris and other friend Mike from German American Bank. But I don't think we won anything, but it was fun. Colin was supposed to be our A player, and he's got a baby on the way, so maybe that's why. But it wasn't our A player, but man, oh man, can he crush that thing. I know Schutte plays. Dopirak, do you play golf at all?
No, I am terrible. Any attempts I've made are horrendous.
Well, I'm terrible.
I was gonna say nobody on this call is on this radio show is good.
Trust
me.
me.
I mean, I'm not functional. Like it's not like I'm bad. Like I'm not functional. Like I hit the drive sideways. Like you put me on the course. Like you can't, like your course is shot. Like no one can play because I'm holding everybody up. I'm like houses that shouldn't be in play, that shouldn't be in any danger because they're like literally like sideways from a tee. To get stuff through the window, like it's non-functional. I can go like drive. I can go to like Top Golf or whatever and like do that, but I'm not good like that. I'm horrendous. I got too much of a baseball swing. I think like I've just never calibrated it for hitting golf balls with any degree of consistency. Any attempt I've made is terrible.
I've decided the best thing for me would be just to maybe take 2 weeks off. and then quit. It's not getting any better, baby. But that's okay. That's the challenge.
Many good walks spoiled, is what you're saying.
There you go. It's just something to do, I guess. But football season around the corner, basketball season not far behind, which is funny. We're like 79 days or something to basketball season starting. So a lot of names on there. Hoosier Hysteria coming up soon. Football season about to start. Week 0 coming up. So we'll get a chance to watch Illinois play, which should be interesting for Indiana fans. I don't expect to see a whole lot. I don't think Wyoming has a lot from what I've read coming back as far as being very tough. So that should not be a hard game. So they should just be able to hand it off, throw some out passes, maybe hit along when and just use defense and not show a lot. But Indiana also has film on them from last year, which is the same coaching staff, there should be a lot of similarities. Indiana does have an advantage. Illinois they don't have Jack. They don't know. I mean, and I think I'm going to be pretty close, but I'm guessing Indiana's just going to run a very quick hitting, no huddle style offense that is going to be a mix of runs, short passes, and try to hit the long ball.
Right.
That's just it. And I think it's going to end up being Connor Bazelak, but that's a guess because I think he seems a little bit more mobile than Jack Tuttle. And with this offense, I think, and this offensive line's history, you're going to need a quarterback that's a little more mobile. And that's another question, what the offensive line going to do? So with so many questions, I still think that Indiana has a slight advantage over Illinois because of that.
Yeah, they do. I mean, there's some level of mystery, and I get it. And obviously, as you've pointed out many times and got them to talk about, they are. Thanks, Justin. Justin apparently heard my exterminator situation. So we've had mice game coming in. Anyway, point of the matter. Yeah, no, I mean, Indiana's obviously gone after mystery. Like they've made a point of maintaining some level of mystery. Didn't have a spring game, aren't making anything public this offseason, not naming quarterback until kickoff. Basically, Tom Allen has said, the quarterback will know who he is. The team will know who the quarterback is. However, we're not going to tell you guys until you see him come out. That's when you're going to find out who the quarterback is.
And you know what? I'm fine with that because I would do the same thing if I was in this position because, and I've said it over and over, the importance of this game is probably the most important game. It might be the most important game of Tom Allen's tenure because of what it could lead to as far as the start to a season or the start of a bad season. Winning this game is really, really important.
It is. The only thing I'm not sold on is the value of mystery. I guess that's really what it comes down for me. I don't like. I think they absolutely should do everything they can possibly do to win this game. It's extremely important for them, I think, to get started. To beat a winnable opponent at home, to start the season just after everything that went bad last year. After you go a whole year without winning a Big Ten game, so there's value there. I guess I don't. It's just I don't know that it matters. I am sure that there is time spent by the defensive coordinator having to watch film of multiple guys. How much does that really make a difference? It annoys that guy, for sure. If you're the defensive coordinator, like that's another hour. That's some hours of tape you've got to put in. You got a couple longer nights that week, or you've probably put them in already. I mean, obviously they've had time, but I mean, they know it's two guys. So you watch all the film you can watch on Jack Tuttle, which there's, a handful of games, and you watch a couple, whatever you can get from Connor Bazelak from Missouri. And you watch some Walt Bell, to get some sense and try to piece things together and be real, but, be real about the fact that are you going to know everything? No, ultimately this is going to be one of those games, and it's the opener. So this is, I think, pretty typical where just players have to make plays. I mean, like, you know how football works, you have some sense of what tells are going to be on basic plays. Know that, yeah, there's a chance that you can get burned by some trick stuff, but ultimately, everybody's seen a spread offense now. Everybody's seen an up-tempo spread offense. I think there was a time when, Walt Bell as an offensive coordinator, when he was especially working with Blake Anderson, was really ahead of the game offensively, but everybody is generally in the same place. We've seen the spread offense. There's not a lot new under the sun at this point in what there is. So it's just practice for that the same way you practice for everything else. Again, you're asking for a little bit more time from your defensive coordinator, from your defensive staff, as far as film watching. And Indiana's going to have a little bit of advantage there. How major is that? Is that going to be a determinant thing? I doubt it. Is sort of what it comes down to. I don't know that it's going to be a determinant thing. Would it help them to tell us who the quarterback is? No. I mean, like, the only way it would help is, it would help me write a really good feature story, like that. It would have been really cool it would be really cool right now if Tom Allen comes in today and says, actually, such and such, this guy's going to be the quarterback, and Dustin, here's his parents' phone number, and all this, and you can go call him and get his whole backstory and get it written by the opener. That'd be nice for me. I would take that, and I guess that would serve them some level of purpose as far as fan enthusiasm is concerned, but probably not that much because the fans are not enthusiastic currently because it's coming off of 2-10. So ultimately, I don't know that there's that much value either way for them. I don't know that it's a difference maker, but ultimately, to your point, it is a really big, important game. So if you're going to be paranoid, this is a good time to be paranoid.
Well, and I think the other thing that people kind of run away with is, well, Indiana doesn't have a starting quarterback. There might be some truth to that, but at the same time, just because Tom Allen isn't announcing it publicly doesn't mean they could have their number one guy a month ago, and they just don't want to, let it go public. But you touched on something I wanted to elaborate on here, and that is, how much time is Illinois really going to spend trying to figure out some of these mysteries with Indiana? To me, Illinois is not a team good enough that they can just roll out their helmets and beat Wyoming. So they're going to have to focus on that game as well. The other aspect is I think Brett Bielema has been doing this long enough to where he knows if we do what we need to do, we're going to put ourselves in a good position. And any of those mysteries are going to be solved by halftime, probably, maybe even after the end of the first quarter. So again, I understand the mystery part of it, but to speak to your point, I just don't think it matters that much. I don't know. By the first 15 minutes, maybe if you get off to a good start and you start out 14-0, maybe you say, hey, those decisions paid off. But if it's a tie ball game or if it's a one-score game, I don't know that it matters that much.
Right, yeah. The only difference is going to be how much coffee does the defensive coordinator at Illinois have to drink this week.
Right,
That's
exactly.
That's where you're going to see a real difference. Is that guy's got to spend a couple hours awake more every night, going through another round of film to watch, to make sure he watches enough Jack Tuttle and make sure he watches enough Connor Bazelak, and obviously the point, as far as like the players themselves, at this point, the entire point for the defensive coordinator is to shrink stuff down to a very digestible amount for the players to take in, so they're not overthinking. So you're not getting them overthinking. They're still going to have just a package of things to watch that they can easily digest. They're not going to, every player on Illinois' defense is not going to be asked to watch every single game Missouri played last year. Some of those guys might do it for their own benefit, but the point is to cut things up so that it's digestible and you're not overthinking things. And so, the guys who ultimately have to cut that film up so it's watchable, and that's defensive staff, they're having some longer hours, but they're not going to be they're not going to be not sleeping at all. You know what I mean? It's some more time. It is some more hours in the film room, but it's not such an obnoxious amount that these guys are going to be zombies when they show up at the game and they're not even going to be able to call plays. It's not going to be that drastic. It's going to be something. It's not nothing, and I guess it's an advantage. And especially if you're a coach, that seems more major to you because you're the one who's doing it, so you get to annoy the other guy across from you. But ultimately, you're not killing him. He's not going to be, falling over and not being able to keep his eyes open on the sideline. It's not going to be that drastic. It's probably a couple more hours a night, an hour or two a night or whatever. But which sucks. But that's it.
Is it safe to say this is, I guess we can't say it's the most important game in Tom Allen's tenure, because who knows what happens after this game, but with the season slated the way it is, with this win, the reason I think it's so important, A, it's a conference game, but B, it's a tough conference game to start the season. If you get that win, that's not like beating Idaho. That's a double dose of confidence. Number one, it's a double valued win. Number two, so man, you go into that next game, you're ready, because if you're able to win that game, you did enough to beat a team that already played a game, number one, and is a quality opponent on top of that. So now you've got all kinds of great confidence. You should, without question, win the next two non-con games easily, going to 3-0, now going on the road to a Cincinnati team that is vulnerable, that you can actually beat potentially. And
potentially. Yeah. I'm going to want to see them play up close first. I mean, and they lost some NFL dudes. So, between Ritter and Gardner and Bryant, I mean, and Burke, They lost some dudes. So obviously they're going to be they're going to have to react to that. Obviously, as far as biggest in the Allen tenure, I mean, I think first off, he's had some really big ones so far to set himself up in this position.
He's had some big wins, but I don't know that they were big games, as big a game going into it.
He's never been on the ropes like this. Like this. Now
that's a great way to put it.
2019, he had to get over the hump though. After that first 2 years when as head coach, when he didn't go to a bowl game, it was just like he had to do something to get started. So those games in 19 where they got over the hump to produce an 8-4 season, beating Nebraska on the road, the types of games that they hadn't won in a while, and to have a complete season that year to get started, and 2020, those still, beating Penn State, beating Michigan. I mean, those are still important games to set him on this track that we could even be. That you were talking about getting an extension, and then it's like, well, how much longer now? But I mean, like to put himself in a position where he's got this much safety and security that even if this year goes bad, obviously he needs this year not to go bad, but he's not out after this year. Even if this year is bad, he's not out after this year. Now the tough part is going to be just arresting that slide, if you will. So this game is really important. I don't want to downplay it, but obviously the narrative for Tom Allen can change. It can go a lot of different directions from here. And yeah, it's altogether possible that 2021, that disappointment ultimately leads to his dismissal in the long term. But you don't know that yet, and some of those other games were really important too. But yeah, it is really important just to get started, just to get because it's a conference game. Because it's a winnable conference game, because it's a winnable conference game at home. For all those reasons, it's an opportunity that they really can't afford to let go past. And shoot, I mean, Western Kentucky ain't no lock, and I know Western Kentucky lost a bunch too, because they had a bunch of those really, that tough receiver, the quarterback Zap. They lost a bunch of those guys too, but I imagine, I think their offensive coordinator is still the same guy, the guy they got from Houston Baptist. And they're going to fling it around and play really, 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 really fast like they did last year. And they almost wore that in their defense out. I mean, those guys were sucking wind at the end of that game. Don't forget that thing was tough. That thing was close. And again, they lost a lot of the most talented guys from that group, but that's not a walk either. But yeah, they should, if they beat Illinois, they should start 3-0, and Cincinnati becomes possible, and Nebraska becomes possible at that point. That's what opens up if you win this game. It's really important. But they could still win this game and go 5-7, or 4-8 or whatever. And it sets them up nice, but it doesn't lock anything in for them either.
It's fun. We got to take a break, I think. John, is that right? We had a break time? Yep, there he is. Hey, let's take a quick break. It's Dustin, double dose of Dustin right now. Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com, Dustin Dopirak with the Bloomington Herald-Times. Brought to you by Barbara Pop Real Estate Services down in southern Indiana, Louisville, Floyd, Clark, Harrison counties. If you're down there, they've served that area for 3 decades. If you're in the need, the man to reach out to is Matt Lincoln. Matt at barbarapop.com. Get you taken care of. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda. It's funny, I just saw a tweet that Gabe Cupp sent out in all caps. I am not transferring. I'm playing my senior season at Centerville with my guys.
Yeah, I didn't know that was even up for debate, but
I think there must have been rumors started. Somebody probably started rumors he was going to go to IMG or Montverde or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's always, I guess, up for possibility.
What's up next for you? What's going on with you, Dustin?
I got to get my butt down to Bloomington as soon as we're off this call.
What time is the thing today? I was trying to look that up.
11:15.
It's at 11:15. What time do you need to leave?
If I can get 9:40, that'd be good. Or 9:45 would be fine. I'm just gonna have to jump in the shower and hustle.
And it's at 11:15 is when it starts.
11:15 is when it's supposed to start. Obviously, they've been running late all week.
Who's
Well,
that
not all
with?
week.
Well, it'll always be late. It's
Today's-
always late.
Today's Bulls and Specialists. So it's the Tea Garden crowd today.
See, I don't know if I'm going to that today because I'm in the middle of moving. Alan's tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah, Alan on Zoom tomorrow.
Oh, he's just on Zoom.
Yes.
Well, I'm not going today. I'm moving.
Understandable. You'll miss the great Lance Bryant and Miles Jackson, and we're not getting to Son, sadly.
Why is that?
Freshman, man.
Do they not let any freshmen speak?
They let Cooper speak, I think.
Hey, I'm shocked that I'm just shocked that he stayed.
Who?
Dasan
McCullough, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think he was already signed up. I don't know if they wanted to go through the process of having to beg for a waiver and all that kind of deal. I am surprised too that he didn't just up and go to Notre Dame, but he must like the place. He must like the defense.
It'd be one thing if he was a running back and would be playing literally underneath of his
literally
dad
for his dad. I don't think there's any doubt that he would have gone in that case. Yeah. But like they've spent so much. I mean, I'm sure they spent a lot of time just figuring out what they were going to do with him because they have just all these options for how he can play. So I don't know. I mean, and they even had a new coordinator, and I think that's an interesting piece too. Is they like Warren loved him, and I'm sure he got along well with Warren. But I mean, he must have place a lot of trust in Tom, and and I think McCullough legitimately is a big Tom Allen fan. I think it was just, how do you say no to Notre Dame? It's just not easy to do that. And so
that's my thing. I'm like,
I mean, it seems like Dylan's thing was, hey man, you guys can go where you want. You can come with me if you want to, but you don't have to, and I'm not going to be the one coaching you. So
here we go, guys.
Get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Monday. We're getting your week started here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from Feast Market and Cellar, part of the Wow Club and Endeavor Hospitality. Make sure you go to the Wow Club and sign up at your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Great places like Feast Market and Cellar, located right next door to Southern Stone Restaurant on Patterson Rogers, offering an extensive wine selection with a sommelier on staff like Dustin Dopirak. He is a sommelier extraordinaire. They take the pairing seriously and provide mouth-watering and wide varieties of cheeses, gourmet sandwiches, entrees, coffee bars, bread and pastries. So stop in. It's Zach Osterman's wife's favorite place. A sommelier. You don't know what a sommelier is? A well-traveled, worldly guy like yourself. A sommelier is an MVP of wine.
I mean, that sounds cool. I don't know that I would call myself that. I suppose I'm well-traveled.
But to be a sommelier, you have to actually have it's something that you are awarded. It's like getting a license for something. That's an expert in the field.
I see. Okay.
They can do all that swirling and then tell you they hear smell notes of leather and sarsaparilla.
I don't know that you're supposed to have like notes of leather in your wine. I don't know.
I think
it doesn't sound that before.
It doesn't, but I swear I've seen that before. Basketball is still a few months away, August or October rather, but man, we're just it just never stops in that regard. Official visits. Earlier I was talking about Indiana has or Arrington Page has a visit to Miami. And while Indiana seems to be in great position with Arrington Page, and Indiana's NIL is probably as good as anybody's, but they're not they don't have a John Ruiz who is just a standalone guy who would just write a check. like he did for Nigel Pack. Now, they obviously felt that they needed Nigel Pack badly enough to get John Ruiz to write an $800,000 or $400,000 checks. And Arrington Page is probably, I don't know if he's not that level, maybe because he's a freshman, but he's probably not far behind. And that's someone I could see, because that would be a great addition to what they have and what they've added. And so it wouldn't shock me to see, him trying to write that big check, but this is going to be a battle for Indiana. And they didn't get either of the other two guys, which after Kaiser scheduled that revisit to Maryland, I kind of knew that was over. But to go 0 for 3 would not be good for Indiana recruiting, I don't think.
No, I mean, they got to get some of these guys. They got to land somebody, and they keep coming close. They keep getting in. And obviously, they landed a bunch of guys before this. I mean, whatever, obviously recruiting feels like there doesn't seem to be a long memory whenever it comes to recruiting, because, you get a rash of guys in a row, and then it's a big deal, and then you go cold for a little while, and it feels like it's gone forever, because when you keep just barely missing. Obviously that they're not they already have two really good players in the class, and Ja'Kai Newton and Gabe Cup. So it's not like they're coming away empty-handed, and certainly, got a terrific 2022 class, but they obviously can't afford to strike out forever. I mean, they need somebody else in 2023, whether it's a guard or they need some, additional talent in this class beyond what they already have. And they do keep coming close and not quite getting there, but they got to land one of these guys. Now they got Deshaun Harris-Smith, I think, has got them in his top 5, and I think he's making a decision in the not too distant future. I think he's got another visit coming up still. But yeah, no, I mean, it's not the greatest, news that they keep, getting almost with these guys. There's a lot of guys that they've sort of dropped out on over time, and seems like they've sort of faded out of contention. Xavier Booker being another one. There's a lot of guys that you see sort of show back up that are making their decisions. They were like, weren't they all over him in the spring? And that they've sort of faded off of. So yeah, they're going to have to land somebody. I think, a part of it is there's not necessarily, they cast a wide net this year. They've cast a wide net geographically. They've gotten down into, the non-in-state areas where they have, connections, obviously with UC Rosemont being really connected in the Southeast, and Kenya Hunter being really well connected in the Mid-Atlantic region. And they've, just gone after those guys, but it's just, they can get guys from those areas, but you don't bat 1,000. That's the thing, is that when you're going into someone else's territory, Indiana has shown well over there over the years, going back in the Korean era, being able to, go get guys out there, and these guys are really well connected, and there's a ton of talent there. But it's just, a lot of times you can put a lot of effort into those guys and they decide to stay home, or there's somebody else that's putting a lot of effort in that they like too. And so it is, you have a lot better chance of batting 1,000 when you got players close to home, and there's not as much depth in the state in this class right now where there's going to be in the next couple of years. But it's just harder to bat 1,000. I guess it's hard to get everybody that you want when you're stepping outside of your geographic area. They're fighting, obviously. I mean, I don't think you can look at this and saying that Indiana is doing a poor job, but they're just gone through a stretch where they're they're impressing a lot of guys, I think. I mean, like they're getting on people's top 5s and top 10s, and you can't say that doesn't matter. But you got to be number 1 at some point.
Well, not only that, they haven't won anything.
There's
you got to win something. You got to start winning.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that last year. We saw that turn, and especially at the end of the year with that run. But at the end of the day, still haven't won anything. They were an also ran in the Big Ten last year, so it's not like Michigan State, who has just had a consistent run. That's why you look at that.
And an established coach too. Like
I was going to say, look what Tom Izzo.
Yeah,
and look what he was able to do at the end of the year with his class that he put together. Boom! He put together a great little class with he pulls in Xavier Booker and the guard
Jeremy Pierce, Cohen Carr.
Cohen Carr.
Get in for a while. Yeah, no, I mean, and obviously when you've been Izzo's had ups and downs in recruiting. Obviously he's never as much as he's a Hall of Famer and the whole bit. He's never been on that Coach K recruiting scale. He's never been on that Roy Williams recruiting scale even. But every once in a while he puts together a really good class where, and it's largely by just owning the Midwest. They get a stretch where there are some Midwest players that, just really fit the Michigan State mold, that are tough, that are gritty, that like what he has to offer. He manages to put together a stretch of players from either Illinois, Michigan, or Wisconsin, or Indiana, or whatever. The stars align for him every, couple of years, and he puts a great one together. But he has, he has established being successful in this position where Mike Woodson is still selling. I have been in the NBA. I get it. I know what it takes. I'm going to be able to get you there. He is selling a great theory of the case. It's still a theory of the case. Like, not only has he's only been there for 1 year. He's not only not won yet. He hasn't produced an NBA player yet. So, which is an unfair thing to say because he's been there for 1 year, and that's not enough time to hold him to account in any ways. But
yeah, because no one's left.
Doesn't have anybody to sell. Doesn't have a concrete achievement to sell yet.
This is the season. This is the season because they're going to be one of the big. Yeah. They're one of the Big Ten favorites, if not the Big Ten favorite. So
by all accounts, they're the Big Ten favorite, and Trace Jackson Davis all of a sudden is interestingly enough, when it's been okay, is he going to be second round, whatever? Is he going to get drafted? All of a sudden, he's showing up as a lottery pick, which I think is very interesting.
I think they've just got to do some. They've got to compete for the Big Ten. I don't think they have to win the Big Ten title, but they just have to compete for it this year and make a run.
They've got to compete. They've got to be top 4 or top 5 for the Big Ten, and they've got to be a top 5 seed in the NCAA tournament.
I agree with that. Let's get Dustin. Dustin Dopirak from the Bloomington Herald Times. We've got to get him out of here so we can get down and talk to the Bulls
and stuff.
Football, man. It's football. Right. Hey, brother, thank you so much. Have a safe trip. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Dustin Dopirak with the Bloomington Herald Times. Make sure you give him a follow. If not, brought to you by our good friends from Metalworks Brewing Company, a new entry on the Endeavor Hospitality list under the Wild Club. Another great place to go to, located just off the square in Bloomington near Cabello. Locally owned and operated by Endeavor Hospitality, of course, launched from a previous staple in Bloomington, the former Function Brewery. Metalworks Brewing Company is the culmination of a passion for beer, food, and custom metal art. Check out their custom growlers. Metalworks Brewing Company has an updated menu, new brews, and will be offered in all Endeavor Hospitality restaurants. Come taste what Dr. Hops has brewing. Metalworks Brewing Company. Bring your passion and your thirst, and part of the Wild Club. Make sure you join that. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting... Hey, John, were you able to get to those commercials I made?
Not this morning, because this morning I was troubleshooting all this stuff still. But
have you been able just to get to them, just to put sound under them?
No, that's what I'm saying. I know what you're talking about. I haven't done them yet. Okay. No, but I will.
As soon as you can, then because I'm going to send those over to the Endeavor lady so she hears those.
Okay. No problem.
And then that list of what we're running and where, so I can.
Yes, that's on my.
And you know what? You can get Joe. Isn't Joe an intern?
Isn't that your decision?
No, I can't remember if he's actually started that process or not.
I don't know if he is through Indiana. I just know that we consider him one.
Well, that's where he would be since he goes to school there.
I know, but what I'm saying is I don't know if he's taking an internship credit.
Well, that's why I was asking that. Anyway,
yeah, I don't know. You can ask him.
I was going to say that's stuff you can have him do, by the way.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. I've got to move this stinking studio. And
when are you moving? I heard you mention that.
This week, today, tomorrow. I mean.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. because all that crap is individual right there. That's what aggravates me is I'm getting sick and tired of moving it.
Hopefully it's the last time for a while.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, it prevents me from having to go build a real studio 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away.
Yeah.
And having to do that every day, but is there a guest up next?
No, you have this open and Jim Reamer at 10:10.
Boom, baby. I got an email that Hooters has signed some offensive linemen to NIL deals.
We only need Reamer should only be one segment. Oh, it is.
He
10,
is
10-10. Perfect. All right, so we got 950 and
10-10
now.
Yeah.
Holy crap! What?
All right, here we go.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. Here we go.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you on this Monday. Hope you're getting your week started off right. Hope we're helping you with that. Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com with me, as always. Great show already. I cannot believe it's. I was like, wow, this is going unbelievably fast.
Flying by, baby.
Tim says it's Bar Wars this week. I don't know. May the booze be with you. Bar Wars where? Howard, new name. Hey, how are you, brother? We welcome you. Thanks a lot. From Robinson, Illinois. Howard F., we appreciate you, brother. Thanks for joining. Hit the like button. Welcome to the program. I'm sure you'll be equally welcomed on the Andy Moore Honda hotline there, as they'll welcome you in, but glad to see you. That's a new, now I got to write that one down. Robinson, Illinois. I try to keep track of I love seeing all these different places, and I write them in my little book. Got my little book here.
Got a little black book of radio listeners.
No, it's a gray book from actually given from the Rose Bowl people.
Nice. Did the Big Ten, Big Ten Media Days a few years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
They've done some good stuff with that. All I got was a little stack of those sticky notes with the Rose Bowl logo. That's the only thing I've ever gotten from the Rose Bowl.
You know, the Rose Bowl used to always do some good stuff. Now I think that they backed off because it's not really, they're not, it's not an automatic thing that it's going to be. And well, hell, I mean, the heart of the Pac-12 is now going to be in the Big Ten. So
exactly. Everybody's going to get a chance to go to the Rose Bowl.
Well, Indiana's definitely going to get to go back to the Rose Bowl at some point.
Right.
You can count on that. So, which is kind of cool. I'm looking forward. I've never been to either the Rose Bowl or the LA Coliseum. I tried to go to the Rose Bowl when I was in Los Angeles a few years ago just to visit it, and they were shooting a damn commercial, so I couldn't get up there.
Of course.
It's located in like a park. There's a golf course there.
Really?
It's up on I think Pasadena, I think, is northeast of Los Angeles. I don't know where the LA Coliseum is. I'll have to Google that here in a second and find out. But that's an old, that's was home of the Rams forever.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always heard, now I've never been there, so I don't know, but I've always heard that unless you're there for the actual Rose Bowl, the Rose Bowl itself is not all that great. It's not this iconic.
It's old. It's old.
Right. It's not the iconic type of thing that you imagine. It's just kind of, it's, to me, like, I don't know about you, everybody on this, this might be sacrilegious, but like Wrigley Field, to me, the old Wrigley Field was not a great ballpark. I mean, it was iconic,
I mean, the
But it
old
was-
Wrigley Field. They haven't changed
Yeah, but
Wrigley Field.
they've upgraded it. They've
Upgraded it how?
They
Besides
have
lights, how?
video screens. They got video screens in the bleachers.
Oh my God! Oh, who
That
cares?
stuff. I'm just saying.
Come on.
I'm not a huge Wrigley Field guy, so that might be skewing my opinion of the Rose Bowl. Having never seen it, just been what what I have heard. So we'll find out at some point because every Big Ten team eventually is going to get there in the next couple years. So hopefully I can get out there and go to Disneyland.
Really?
I got Mickey ears, baby. I got to break them out for something.
The LA Memorial Coliseum is located what I would consider southeast of LA, the downtown area, it looks like. It is due east of Crenshaw area. There are so many areas. Holy cow. So I would like to see it, to see what area is it like. Is this in an area of town? It would. I'm curious from a picture standpoint. It's a great looking stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, for as old as it is, but both the Rose Bowl and the LA Coliseum, both are bowls. And that's why these bowl games are called bowls. These stadiums, that's what they were, the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl. They were played in those stadiums. So that's how those names came about. But these older stadiums, they really are, they go out as they go up. It's not much of an incline. So while you're not very high, you're also further away from the action a little bit.
It's kind of like Michigan Stadium.
But that's just on the one
Michigan
side
Stadium.
because the other side's got the press box and a lot of the seats go straight up. But anyway, it looks cool. But I'd like to know where. But the fact, first of all, it was built for the Olympics back in like the 30s. What Olympiad was this first?
Yeah, I can't remember. But that's exactly what it was built for.
Yeah, so it still has the Olympic torch,
right?
Flying.
Which has got to be pretty cool for those kids that go there to play in front of that. And like it was, I mean, just as you said, I mean, it's historic, it's iconic. It would be really cool to get out to both of those stadiums. That's for sure.
And well, the good thing is Indiana will play in both of those stadiums
at
some point. But yeah, they are Pasadena, northeast of Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, and LA Memorial Coliseum. Just a little. Oh, it's just southeast of Skid Row.
Okay. Well, there you go.
LA Memorial Coliseum. So
now what would be?
I tell you what, Skid Row is right between Dodger Stadium and the LA Memorial Coliseum.
How about that?
I did not realize Dodger Stadium was as close to downtown as it is, but it sure is.
I don't know where anything in Los Angeles is. You know what would be great, though, is if at some point the Big Ten did Indiana played out there in November and then also did an early season conference game out there, and you could do 2 at 1 and get both those at UCLA or USC. That would be awesome. I doubt that's going to happen, but at the very least, maybe they'll schedule one of those games for November so you can at least check out UCLA.
Heck yeah, we get straight out of Compton, yo.
That's a movie.
I was trying to find where Compton is and compared to LA Memorial because I think it's south. Yeah, there it is. It's due south. It's much further south. I've driven through Compton. I did it on purpose. When the last time I was out there, I'm like, I'm going through Compton, yo. I said, I ain't got no worries. It was cool, but I was during the day. It was like noon. I wouldn't want to be there 12 hours later. But I looking forward to it. I don't know how the scheduling is going to go. That's going to be very interesting.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be.
But
I can't wait to see how that turns out because it's.
Can you imagine? an Indiana football game going to say UCLA and beating UCLA at the LA Memorial Coliseum.
I know.
Wow. Or beating USC at the Rose
would be
Bowl.
bigger. Yep. No, you got to mix up. USC at the Coliseum, UCLA at the Rose Bowl.
Beat UCLA at the Rose Bowl. Have a
cool.
victory in the Rose Bowl. Indiana wins in the Rose Bowl.
Yes, that would be
always
awesome.
Say that. That would be very cool. I did not realize Anaheim is so far away from Los Angeles, and that the fact that it's southeast of Los Angeles.
I have no sense of direction about anything in California. Never been.
Well, you are missing it. It is fun. I will say that. When I went out there, I had some time and I was by myself. I like being by myself because I do whatever I want. And I went to Santa Monica. I should have went to Malibu. No, I went to Santa Monica Pier. Which
you should have went to Malibu. Walking around with your shirt off. Get out some Pfizer, break the hair out.
Yeah,
oh man.
No. But I did go to Santa Monica Pier, which I believe is you got Santa Monica Boulevard. But also I think was that Wilshire? Wilshire is one of the ones that comes out of there too. And
see, if I go to California,
I've said this before, but I went to to Nicole Brown Simpson's former residence.
Oh, okay.
Literally parked right across the street, and it was just a wild thing. And I noticed another guy eventually pulled up right behind me doing the same thing.
Is that house? Does somebody live in that house?
Yeah, it's like I think it's like a condo that has two sides to it. You know, there's the one side and there's the other side because they have different gates. Now you can look back in the old days and what the gate looked like from the old pictures. Yeah. Well, they put up a wooden gate there now, but the odd thing is where the plain metal gate used to be. I counted the stones. There's stone pavers. Yeah. They're exactly 9 to where the old gate was. It's the same exact place. It's 9 pavers. So they put this wooden gate up in the exact same place. And it's just odd because it's just feet away from where it happened.
Right.
And then I actually drove around the back. There's an alley because that's how he purportedly was parked and left there.
I mean, that would be quite the conversation piece if you lived there.
They changed they did change their address, just like they changed the address of Cielo Drive for the Manson place.
Oh, yeah.
OJ's home was purchased, torn down. They changed the address of that place. So yeah, they do that a lot, but it's like doesn't really matter. You can always find it. Laurel Canyon. There you go. Up in Laurel Canyon, not trying to be morbid, but just historical stuff. There's so much historical stuff.
See, I usually like to travel by myself too. I'm like you, because then I can do what I want at my own pace. But at the same time, not having been to California and there's so much to do out there, I think I'd have to go with somebody.
Well, we go with 5 lefts, baby.
There we go.
Up into Compton, say, "What's up, yo?" I'd love. I mean, hey, I'm all in to go everywhere.
5 Lefts had some good photos from the Fan Fest over the weekend. Looked like he had a good time.
Yeah, well, hope he did. Rolling on from that, let's see what else is going on in the world of sports. What went on this weekend? Oh, we talked about the Major League Baseball race. The Dodgers, they're in solid position, man. They have an 18-game lead over a team that will make the playoffs. That has got to be the biggest disparity in games back in the history of Major League Baseball with a team that still makes the playoffs.
That might be. What about those?
The Yankees fell off because the Yankees were the best team forever, had the best rate.
Right.
The Dodgers are still sailing. The Dodgers now 10 games better than New York, better than the Yankees. 10 more wins. 10.
Right. It's crazy. They're gonna cruise to 100 wins. The only one I would question, I don't know anything, but those Mariners teams, like the 90s that played the Yankees, one of those teams hit, how many wins did they have? And I don't know that they, of course, that was a smaller playoff back then.
What are the Dodgers on pace for?
Let's see. They got 84 wins. With how many did you say to play? 42? I can't do the math in my head.
I didn't, but they've played a total of 84 and 36, whatever that is. So that's 90 and 120. They played 120 games right now, and you have
42.
You got 42 games left. But you'd have to just do the math on the percentage of wins. They've won 84 of however many games I just said that was, 120.
They're winning at a 70% clip.
Wow.
So you take that. So they would win 29.4 games. So let's just say 29. So that would put them at, what's 29? 29 plus 84 equals 113 wins. That's if
That's
they
a
win
lot.
If they, yeah.
What is the Major League regular season record?
I was just going to ask that. I don't know off the top of my head.
It's not hard to find.
Most wins in a regular season is 116 in 1906.
Oh, really? Who did that?
Chicago. It says Chicago, but it doesn't give me Cubs or White Sox. The Mariners also won 116. And only 6 teams have ever won 110 or more. So there's a chance. They have a chance to surpass that.
Yeah, it's just you're at the end of the season. Do they keep rolling with what they got to keep everything intact? Do you rest? That's the thing.
It probably comes down to how many games, like how close are they to making history? If they're,
I don't think that nothing they do is going to be related to history. They want to win a championship. So that I think that they let that stuff come. They're not going to do things different to alter for that. But man, they've lost 15. They've only lost out of almost out of 60 home games, 58 really. They've only lost 15 times. No one has done that. The only one that is under 20 are the Houston Astros at 39 and 18, and the Mets at 40 and 19 right now. So, yeah, they've just been hell. They're 41 and 21 on the road.
I mean, they're I don't know how they're not going to. I mean, as much as I hate to say it as a Braves fan, I think that they're probably going to win the World Series. I mean, the Yankees, the AL to me, they've got some good teams, but I don't know that anybody's as dominant as the Dodgers. I mean, the
Cardinals, they've won 7 in a row, man. The Cardinals are riding high at the right time. They've won 8 out of their last 10. They have a 5-game lead over the Brewers, which is tenuous because that's been up and down because we've still got, what did you say, 42 games left?
Right.
Still have 42 games left in the season, but and the Padres, man, they're hanging on after losing one of their best players. I mean, holy crap.
Right.
So good for them. Oh, well.
He didn't play all season, so.
Yeah.
He won't play this season, or he'll miss some time next season, too. I don't know what the suspension translates over to, but it's probably around 30-some games at least.
And I believe someone mentioned earlier that the Hagerstown team Aren't
They
they
play
playing
today.
again? They play today. What time do they play? Game schedule, baby. Let's see. Game schedule. Come on, man. Get up there.
The Little League World
Hagerstown.
Series has a tough website to read.
Yeah, but I don't think Hagerstown has lost. Period. They didn't lose in the region. Jump to full schedule below. Okay. That's game wide. That's showing the whole. That's showing all the win or all the stuff. The scores
that's
and the whole deal.
Their website is not good. I think it's
no.
Ross says 3 p.m.
What is today? The 22nd?
Yes.
Yep. The Great Lakes region. 3 p.m. There you go. They're playing the Southeast.
Wonder who comes out of there.
Well, I wonder what the Southeast has done.
I'm guessing they're pretty good. Usually the Southeast is pretty good when it comes to Little League World Series.
Well, that's as our college baseball teams. And we talk about it all the time because the warm weather states, you play all the time. Whatever you do, you can practice outside all the time in the elements that you need. And that makes a huge difference.
I said this when I was, and I know we got to cut to a break here, but I said this when I was living in Georgia, and it does get cold there at some points. But if it's a clear day, as long as it's not raining, there was a team or a game. There's a team either practicing or there was a game being played at all times, 12 months out of the year. Like it would be middle of February and there would be a game going on. So you're exactly right with that. That's why they're always so good in the College World Series. That's why they're always so good in the Little League World Series. It's nonstop.
We got to take a break. We got more coming up. Brought to you by our good friends from Reynolds Family Dentistry. If you need that championship smile, go see my friend Dr. J. He will get it done for certain. Located down in Sellersburg, right off of I-65. Reach out to him. Reynolds Family Dentistry. Back with much more here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting, they beat Mid-Atlantic in their first game, 8-3. Man, you can get a lot of stats on these dudes. See what they're going to be facing.
Morning, Reamer.
Even at Christmas, make go a whole weekend without using your computer, and it takes forever to get things loaded up.
Yes, it does.
Can't get my email to show John. I can't get my desktop or my laptop to show the email John sent that I responded to 3 hours ago from my iPad. So
they only had Google. 3 hits. Southwest. There they had 9 hits and 1 error. 6 runs in the 5th inning. Big inning.
I still want to find that. There was a series of prints on stadiums, college stadiums, and arenas that were almost like cartoons or comic type strips type stuff. And they had famous people in the crowd placed. It was like a Where's Waldo. And there was a really good one of Indiana, of Assembly Hall. And I'm trying to find that so I can hang it on my wall back here. And for these moments.
Shrine Auditorium and Expo Center. Yeah, that's California African American music. That's almost a wild area.
What's new? Nothing. This is just a dead period for basketball. It's awful. And I'm going to be coaching a 14-year-old team next year. So
Is that
any of these little, any of these little knick-knack games that I'm going to here in the next couple of weeks aren't going to be relevant. There is a good camp coming up next Sunday, though, for the incoming freshmen. Gives us a chance to figure out who's going to be good and if there's any. But I don't know. It's not. Doesn't seem like it's going to be as strong as the 2025 group. Not even close.
Yeah, 24 is. If they didn't have Floyd Badunga, 24 would just be a.
Yeah, it wouldn't be great.
Well, it's still not great, I don't think, but it would be not even.
Of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Monday. Hope we're getting your week started off right. It's going to be a nice one. It's been an incredible month. This weather has been just heat, global warming, schmorming. This has been the most incredible August, I swear, that I can remember in my lifetime as far as weather here. The humidity is going to be nice again this week. Temperatures, this is crazy. Take it, baby. Smoke them if you got them. It's just been incredible. Jim Reamer joins us now from Courtside, Indiana. Might as well just get out and play pickleball, man. This weather's awesome.
Yeah, I worry about knees and hips at that point. Dockage was talking a lot last week about playing pickleball. I don't know how long he's been playing it. I'm sorry, it was like 2 weeks ago. I don't know how long he's been playing it. But then last week, especially midweek, it was all about how he took a fall and broke his maybe damaged his hip replacement parts.
Oh, see, I that's why I'm like going, man, I want to get out there and play because I'm uber competitive. But that's the problem is in my mind, everything's the same. The competitive level is the same. And so you tell your body to do all the same things that you used to do. Unfortunately, the body is, while the brain reacts, the body might react, but it might result in things that did not used to result in. The brain is the same, but the body has definitely taken a beating.
And it's not too indifferent from what elite level athletes. The main issue there is it's the stopping. It's the start stop action that we're at this age, at least my age. I'm 52. I don't know how old Dustin is, but at least at this age, we're not training for it. We're not doing it a whole lot. I mean, as much as I walk, as much as I ride, as much as I'll even every now and then jog, which isn't a lot, there is no start stop. It's everything is forward motion and not doing a whole lot of changing directions or changing speeds. So at least not abruptly.
To me, it's just doing anything of that strenuous because you're not straining the body like that. Back in the day, I mean, it was doing something every day to do it. You're always active, always doing something. Not for me, unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. I used to be because I did everything. Like I said, competing in pro rodeo, this, that. That's
oh geez. I never did that.
Just practicing, just going out. You got a saddle horse and all that. Saddles weigh 30 pounds, all that business, just getting ready, warming up. You're all active, moving, always using muscles for stuff. No matter what it is you're doing, you can be playing tiddlywinks, but as long as the body's moving and keeping those muscles taut, but I'm not, unfortunately. Golf does not do a very good job of that.
One of the best exercises I've come up with is getting the fork directly from the plate to my mouth and doing that
There's that.
repeatedly.
That's
the best workout I've got in my bag.
And where I hang out has bigger glasses, so it's a little heavier than what it used to than some of the other places I've hung out at. But no, it really is the start. Yeah, I saw the comment in the chat room. Jim used to do rodeo. Yeah, that's odd. That's an odd one.
Well, but I was roping. I mean, I wasn't riding bulls.
Right.
I was roping steers, roping calves, and sometimes steer wrestling. But the funny thing is, roping is probably the least hard on your body, is obviously from bareback riding, saddleback riding, bull riding, even steer wrestling. But the danger of roping is higher because you can lose a finger that fast. And I've seen it happen. I saw it happen multiple times right in front of me. As a matter of fact, I've had partners that lost their thumb because it all happens this fast. And it just, when it happens, it's gone, baby. It takes it off. Or just the inherent dangers.
Yeah, riding the horse and roping the angles. I mean, just from watching it every now and then, you're still working your core
all the time. You're always
you're getting a lot of core work always there. Yeah,
it's amazing. It really is. People don't think about it's just moving. As long as you're moving that body, but when you start doing stuff and moving muscles and using muscles that you don't use, haven't kept up, haven't stretched, you find out real quick which ones they are.
Yeah, they're none that I have. None that I have anymore. But yeah, it's the start-stop stuff that concerns me, and because I plan on keeping my mobility long. My grandmother just celebrated her 100th birthday, and I had
congratulations.
Yeah, right. So I had 3 grandparents reach their mid-90s.
Wow.
And even the one who quote died young died when he was 74. So he had a pretty good life, but at the same time, so they grow old in my family. I'd like to be old and mobile. And that's the plan. And the plan there is to not get to have serious injuries and need transplants and things like that. But
Mike's got that covered. He's got the karate,
right,
which is very good. I tell you what, I need to do. I need to do what is that?
Yoga.
Well, I did that hot yoga once. I've talked about that.
Oh boy,
I just say hot yoga. It's yoga.
No, if you've not done hot yoga,
right,
just come to me and just let me punch you in the gut as hard as I can without you tightening up your stomach. Just let me just punch you in the stomach as hard as I can. I left that. This was a 90-minute session. I left that room and just went into the shower and turned on the cold water for like 30 minutes and just stood there. It reminded me the only thing that I've ever done that strained me like that was 2-a-day football practice. That took me back to that level of heat, of stretching your body through heat and all of that, which you're not doing hardly anything in yoga. But yet I left there and that heat is like, holy crap, buddy, it takes it out of me. But it is a great thing. It really loosens your body. It's
the stretch. Yeah, we do. Thing. So I get an occasional massage, and then I go for an occasional stretch, like a professional stretch. And the stretch is way better for you than the massage. The massage might feel a little bit better, but I come out of that stretch feeling outstanding. And it lasts, and I go about once a month, and it's a good experience, and I would recommend it to anybody. There's these new stretching places that are opening. Some of them are chains, some of them are local, but I think they work, and I feel a lot better after I go to them.
I was just going to ask, is that a new phenomenon? Because I feel like I've noticed like a lot of these intense stretching. I don't know if they're places, but I know that they started offering it at like chiropractors' offices and all these other places. And I did not know if that was a thing before, if I was just learning about it, or if that's a new type of
what's that?
Commercial stretch lab or stretch zone.
Yeah.
Or commercially, absolutely. I think it's relatively new. At least it's new here. There's 3 different places here in Carmel, And what they use, the one that I live near uses straps. So they'll strap you into different positions and stretch you from that base. And then you get to, obviously you can expand your base and where you start from in a given stretch. And they chart it. Everything that they do is charted based on degrees and distance traveled. And it's pretty detailed. For me, it works. So I like it. I'm not necessarily the most limber guy in the world, but I'm a hell of a lot more limber than I was, say, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, whenever I started it. But yeah, those places like that, Dustin, I think at least around here have definitely started to pop up and are definitely a new thing.
It sounds like it's just a takeoff on yoga, but like I said, it reminds me of. There's never been a time that I was as limber as in high school football. I remember every day the first thing you do is you're out on the field as a team stretching. I remember you're on the ground, legs as far apart as so, and you've got to lay over and basically put your face on the ground. And that's hard. And I would get like 5 inches away, about as far as I get. And coach would come up behind you and just shove your head down. It's like, I got to get down there. We're going to stretch it. I'm like, holy Jesus. But, yeah, speaking of high school football, man, week 1 in the books, your Carmel Greyhounds, they took it on the chin. Who did they lose to? I forget. Louisville Trinity.
That's
very
a strong program.
Oh, yeah. It's Kentucky. Kentucky's probably all-time top program, I would say. Bishop Chittard lost to Braybo Jesuit 43-13. Bloomington South getting off to a good start, beating Tim's New Albany Bulldogs easily 34-14 down in the southeast. Boonville over Paoli 36-8. Brownsburg, big game, 21-6 over Ben Davis. Let's see some others. Cathedral went up and beat Lafayette Jefferson easily, 43-12. Castle down in Evansville area over Evansville North, 28-21. Center Grove, a big win over Warren Central, 17-8. Charleston wins over Silver Creek down in the south. Clarksville over Scottsburg, 41-14. That's big down there in southern Indiana. Let's see. I'm looking for some of the other ones that jumping out. Columbus North loses to Decatur Central. Just some of the games that jump out to me of Edgewood went down to Mitchell and beat Chase Briscoe's team 38-16. Chase Briscoe didn't he won a stage yesterday in the race. Evansville Wrights over Harrison. A little surprising how big that score was, 39-8. Modern Day from Evansville over Evansville Central, blanking them 35-0. Fishers 34-0 over North Central as well. So up in Fort Wayne, we'll get to that when Dustin joins us. But Bishop Dwenger over Fort Wayne 35-13. It was Fort Wayne Carroll beating Bishop Lures. Concordia over Southside. We'll cover all those when later in the week. But if any of your teams at Hagerstown, how about Hagerstown? 50-26 over Knightstown, which is kind of funny. Hagerstown in the Little League World Series right now. Knightstown, the home of the Indiana Gym, FYI.
Mm-hmm. The Hoosier Gym.
So Hamilton Southeastern and a tight one over Lawrence Central, 12-7. Any other games of note? Batesville losing to Indian Creek, 37-25. I know we've got some listeners down there. Sorry about that. Jasper blanks Evansville Memorial 34-10. I'm sorry. So Pat Graham's, well, his kids are both out of school now, and one of them's actually a freshman here at IU. So there's that. Let's see. I'm trying to look at any other big scores and bigger names. Lawrence North beat Avon. Wow, 32-25. That was a fun game. Look forward to talking to Kyle Nedrip on Wednesday. We'll cover these more. Floyd Central just getting killed by Louisville Mail while they play that game. I have no idea. Martinsville beat Bedford North Lawrence 28-14. Hello. Maryville 27-7 over the Fighting Dockages. Andrean. But what's new? What's coming up? Bloomington North loses to Mooresville, by the way, as well. What's up next for you, Jim?
You know, the Prep Hoops top freshman camp is this Sunday at, I think they may have moved it. It was supposed to be at Fishers High School, and it might now be at Noblesville Boys and Girls Club, but you can check that information out on prephoops.com. That's Kyler Staley will be part of that as well. For my money, we talk awful lot about camps in the fall, which ones kids should attend, or especially in the late summer. The short answer there is attend camps like college elite camps or prospect camps. Those are the best ones. Also, avoid the ones where it's just some guy from out of state throwing together a camp, because that guy's only coming around when it's camp time, when it's time for him to make money.
Except for people like Charlie Miller, who is with the company who does that. Or like Jim's saying, though, make sure you research,
right?
Do some research.
But I would say the main ones are to go to the ones where those people are investing time into your school season as well. So that would be Prep Hoops. Kyler does a good job on some of his work with them as well. Brandon Ramsey heads up their boys coverage now. But they're going to go watch high school games all year and cover those kids. And that's I'm talking about. Charlie's camp's more for development and workout type stuff. I'm talking about, quote, exposure camps. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Because a lot of these guys tout exposure, and I would do the ones that invest back into the kids with their time during the school season. Not unlike the fall league that I run, the Metro Indy Basketball Fall League that I've run for 16 years. I go to 100 high school games a year, so I'm watching these guys year round and writing about them and talking to coaches about them throughout the year.
We'll talk more about that next week and make sure that they get the information.
Prephoops.com for that camp.
So make sure you get that down, prephoops.com. Big thanks to Dustin Schutte, of course, Kyler Staley for joining us, and Jim Reamer as well. Back tomorrow to do this all again. Looking forward to it. Mike DeCourcy be with us, Chronic Hoosier. We'll see what else we can get scared up. I cannot believe how fast it went today. Big thanks to all of those guys, John, the producer, but most importantly, thanks to you guys for joining us each and every day. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you. Looking forward to coming back tomorrow. Big thanks to the Wow Club as well, and Andy Moore Honda. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports